One of the greatest tracks in the world, in one of the most beautiful parts of Italy, Puglia, that is in the heel of Italy, if you've seen the map. Magnificent sporting and motorsport heritage. We're not too far away from the Ugento circuit, which also hosted the World Championship. And interestingly enough, we're actually not that far away from the Nardo test track. If you've ever seen Top Gear, you'll remember when James, Jeremy and Richard hammered some supercars all the way through Italy. Well, that Nardo test track, which you can see from space, you can see it from Google Earth, it's 12 kilometres perfectly round. It's only about 30 miles from where we are. It's where even Captain Slow, James May, managed to get a McLaren up to 300 clicks an hour. It's only about 30 or 40 miles to our west. And we're only about 10 kilometres from the Adriatic coast itself. And on a clear day, I'm told you can see all the way to the former Yugoslav state of Albania. Right across the Adriatic Sea. Not today, it's a little bit overcast. As we get ready for our second final of the afternoon, Senior KF, the World Championship class, you are looking at Nicholas Nielsen making his debut for the Tony Kart Racing Team. As cool as you'd like, the young driver from Denmark, the number 202 machine, steps into his kart. Richard Verschoor, what a revelation he's been from the Netherlands. That's him on screen now, just out of juniors in the Esprit kart. Starts on the outside of the front row. Max Futrell, formerly from Singapore, originally from the United Kingdom, that's him now. Now back racing for the mother country, for Ricky Flynn Motorsport. Super successful team. RFM, they are the team dominating world karting at the moment. They took the World Championship with Lando Norris about 4 months ago in France. And they are on the pace, be assured, once again this weekend. The energy kart of Rokas Pachuska from Lithuania. TM-powered energy. Beautiful karts, the energy, always well presented, run by Michele Panagada and his team from Bergamo, up near Milan. But Chuska had a fantastic pre-final, came storming through. That's the American, the Lotus F1 junior driver, Juan Manuel Correa, also racing for energy. Casper Anderson in the Alonso kart, another one of the Ricky Flynn Motorsport drivers. That's Lorenzo Travisinuto, the Italian driving the PCR kart, Scuderia PCR, TM Power, plain white helmet. Doesn't make him go any faster, but he's driving the world-renowned PCR chassis. Of course, that's the kart that won the World Championship way back in 1987 at Jesolo in the hands of Giampiero Simoni. Great to see the PCR karts back on the pace in world motorsport. And how about this young kid all the way from New Zealand? I thought it was a long way from Melbourne. He's travelled here 4 flights from the South Island. Hi to all our friends who raced the NZ Pro Kart Series today. Marcus Armstrong, in his debut for the Tony Kart Racing Team, starts out of grid number 10 alongside the Estonian Yuri Vips. That's him on screen now. Winner of the World Rotax Final. Didn't have the best run through the heats, but he's managed to drag that kart up onto the 5th row of the grid, one ahead of Leonardo Lorandi and the Russian Igor Stupenkov, who we will look out for. There's Carol Bash. For years, we've seen him in the green machine, the Tony Kart driver. For 2015, he swapped over to the Cosmic Racing department. Super cool customer is Carol from Poland, a country that continues to produce a number of world-class racing drivers. Need we mention the name Roberto Kubica, of course, who we saw on these tracks not too long ago, the former Birrell pilot. You're looking at the Alonso kart of the German, Kevin Brutschin. Hi to all our friends watching in Germany. Of course, the DKM Masters Series, a very, very strong championship, one of the best international championships in the world of karting. That's Tom Bale. He qualified fastest on Friday afternoon on a dry track. Didn't have the best run through the heats. Remember, it was pouring rain yesterday. Just test the front brakes with his right hand there. You can see hand operated front 4-wheel disc brakes. .25 kilometres the distance. Adriano Albano with the MIR race suit. Tony Kart Vortex powered. All these drivers on Vega tyres. Of course, thanks to our sponsors, Vega, Panther Fuels, BetItaly.it and Sparco Racewear. The WSK Champions Cup, the first event for 2015, the championship season. Don't forget the WSK Night Edition at the brand new Adria International Raceway in July. The WSK Supermaster Series before that. So the 30-second board goes up. The girls leave the grid, trying not to distract the drivers along the way. All of them looking forward. A couple of them with some glances to the left. There's a couple of tenths of a second lost. The green flag flies. Nicholas Nielsen fires that Vortex engine into life. Oh, we've got one stalled on the grid, a couple slow to get away. Can see out our commentary box, that is Marcus Armstrong. No, 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 no. All the way from New Zealand. Come on, Marcus, get that Vortex fired. He's going to have to push it back to pit lane. And if he can get that engine running, he will start from dead last after qualifying 10th. Tremendously bad luck for Marcus Armstrong all the way from NZ. Can you believe it? I can see the Ward racing car of Alexander Dadelberg also slow to get away. Looks as though it's just running a little bit rich. When it clears itself, he'll be able to rejoin the rest of the field. Well, that's a tragedy for both Dahlberg and the New Zealander, Marcus Armstrong. The rest of the field have already put a lap on those Vega tyres, getting some temperature in them. That's Armstrong to the right of your screen in pit lane. He's in the kart, just trying to see if he's got it fired. He may have done, but he has to wait for the rest of the field to go through to rejoin at the tail of these 24 drivers. He does get it fired up. Well done, Marcus. Will rejoin at the back of the field. Our friends in NZ, you can cheer him on for the next 20 kilometres. 25 kilometres, in fact, 20 laps. To start out of grid 10 if he can rejoin the field. No such problems for Nicholas Nielsen, the Tony Kart pilot, on screen to start from pole position with Richard Verschoor alongside him. Carol Bash, Max Futrell on the second row of the grid with Rokas Pachuska and Kasper Andersen from Denmark on row 3. We'll see if we get a start. They don't look the best formed up. We're in the hands of the race director, Mr. Alessandro Ferrari. But he's happy with the field and he lets the lights go out. Nicholas Nielsen races into the lead into turn 1. Quite a clean start. We've lost no one. No one has even put a wheel into the dirt. Nicholas Nielsen leads them round for the first time. Max Futrell for Ricky Flynn Motorsport up into second spot. Fantastic start for the young Brit. Verschoor is in third in the Esprit kart. They settle themselves down for this first lap. Already a strong lead for Nicholas Nielsen, the young blonde Dane, in his first race for the Tony Kart racing team. Leads with his head down. 1 down, 19 remain. They flash across our start finish line at 120 kilometres an hour for the first time. Nielsen leads Futrell, Vachor, Bash, Casper Anderson, and the American Juan Correa, who is in 5th spot. Make that 6th because he's been passed by Casper Anderson. Rokas Pachuska in 7th. Yuri Vips, a great start into 8th. Leonardo Lorendi is 9th. And Emil Scaris rounds out your top 10. Tom Bale, the fastest qualifier, sits down in 15th spot. A driver to look out for is Igor Stupenkov. He's currently in position number 11, but he was fastest in the heats yesterday, which were in the rain. This is the fight for 2nd place. Nielsen starts to pull away. Oh, they touch! A big touch there between Vachor and Carol Bash. NASCAR style on the start-finish straight. Carol Bash in the Cosmic Cart, his debut for the purple team, gets fed a wheel by the young Dutchman, Richard Vachor. Sensational stuff. Vachor in 2nd spot. Let's watch Carol Bash. He's a very clean, very smooth driver. Again, down the main straight, cuts across, says, hey, that bit of bitchman's mine. Get out of my way. Vachor in 2nd spot. Carol Bash is going to have to try something different. Remember, these cars have got front wheel disc brakes. Expect very, very late braking moves on this La Conca circuit. The 2 Ricky Flynn Motorsport drivers in the Alonso carts. That's them there, the bright blue, white and yellow machines. We've got the Tony kart leading the Esprit, the Cosmic, then the 2 Alonsos. So we've got OTK carts, the first 5 positions. Nielsen, that's him, 2.02, as cool as you'd like, pulling away from the rest of the field. I expect a move to come from the man on screen now, 2.01. That is Carol Bash, the driver from Poland. Flies over the ripple strip, does Richard Vachor, getting airborne. Up the inside, there's the move into 2nd place. Cool, calm, absolutely methodical from the pole. Head down. Vachor has a look over the shoulder, tries to get him back, but he has to defend that 3rd place from Futrell, and behind him, his teammate Anderson. This is the move into the McLaren curves. A wheel up on the ripple strip of Vachor might have cost him a fraction of time. I think Carol Bash had him lined up before that anyhow. Lorenzo Travisinuto in the PCR kart, fastest lap of the race, but he's way down in 13th spot after a dreadful start that saw him lose 5 places. Nielsen with a 48.4 second lap last time round as they go side by side into the McLaren curves. Bash fighting off the 2 RFM drivers, coming up to complete the first quarter of this race. Vachor in 2nd spot. Bash now trying to fight off the 2 RFM drivers. You can see fastest lap again for 48.2 for Nielsen, pulling away while the battle rages for 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th spot. Right down to the American Juan Correa in the energy cart. That's him now. To the right of your screen, up the inside. Nicely done by the American. Blocks it on the exit. Quite fairly, you must say. Futrell and Anderson in a little bit of trouble now. Rokas Pachuska getting involved also in 7th spot. Down the start-finish straight. This is the start of their 6th lap. Very aggressive, very talented young Dutchman just out of juniors. Richard Vachor from the Netherlands, the Esprit chassis. Carol Bash, on the other hand, very calculating, very cool, very smooth. Oh, you can see how aggressive is young Vachor. Drags the right rear Vega tyre onto the grass, using every bit of the racetrack and then some. Bash smashes over the ripple strip through the centre chicane. Yuri Vips, the Rotax World Junior Champion, now up into 8th spot and trying to hunt down Casper Anderson. Vachor a little bit sideways coming onto the straight. Great drive thus far from the American Juan Correa. He is up into 5th spot in the energy cart. For our friends in NZ, Marcus Armstrong, after starting from the back of the grid, is now up into 19th position. It's getting very, very dark here at La Conca. Verschaw and Carol Bash in the centre of your screen. It is the X-Spree cart leading the Cosmic. Leading the Alonso cart, and out front it's the Green Machine. The Tony cart, which has won more world titles than I can count. Up the inside, Carol Bash, he's done the same move again. This time he's in second spot. A look over the shoulder, Carol Bash signals, hey, the leader's getting away. Up the inside rear skips up nicely. Hardly any movement in the steering wheel. You can see how straight he drives that Cosmic cart. And speaking of straight, speaking of smooth, how about this kid from Denmark in the Tony kart? Last year was in the Cosmic, switched over to the sister team. Turns in quite early, does Nicholas Nielsen. Bash over the ripple strip, driving it quite straight. So the pole chasing down the Dane with the Dutchman in third spot. It looks as though we've lost one of the energy carts on the back part of the circuit. Oh, indeed, I think that's Bachuska as Nielsen comes through. And I'll tell you why, because it's starting to rain. The red flag is out. It's actually starting to rain reasonably heavily here. That's why the energy cart was slow, because it got turned around on the back straight. Lorenzo Travisanuto goes through at the bottom of your screen. Then it was Igor Stupenkov for Forza Racing. The red flag is out. We have not reached half race distance. This race will not be declared officially yet. I must confess, I'm a little surprised that the race was not neutralised with the double yellow flags. The track is greasy, but there is not yet standing water. If it does continue, they will change over to the Vega wet tyres. Well, according to the Apple iPhone weather app, we were expecting some showers this afternoon, but I was hoping that our friends in California had made a little bit of a mistake with the app prediction. You can see how dark it is here in the south of Italy. It is only 10 to 3 in the afternoon, and we just about need the lights on. The track's actually not that wet. There's not standing water. It's greasy. The grid girls will have to be real careful in their high heels, be assured. It's very slippery, but wet weather tyres, gee, I don't know. The rain's actually easing up. It's a brief shower. The red flag has come out. The cart's back into Parc Ferme. Nielsen was your leader at the conclusion now. A lot of new chassis joining the grid this year as the green flag flies. Nielsen can't get that vortex started. He's stranded. Nielsen, no, this is a tragedy. Nicholas Nielsen from pole position is stranded on the grid. He can't get that engine fired into life. Neither can the 227 kart of Yuri Vips. Oh, can you believe it? He's being pushed back to pit lane. Colpa di scena, what a shock. As they say here in Italy, now he's got it fired up. Is he going to be forced to start from pit lane? They are forcing him out despite the fact that it has fired into life. Wow. Wow. Nicholas Nielsen. We said nothing flusters him, but this has got his attention. He's now in pit lane. They're desperately trying to change his spark plug. The crack Tony Kart racing team working frantically in pit lane. A fouled spark plug, possibly a result of slowing down on that final wet lap. Look at the circuit out there now. Huge rooster tails of spray. Richard Verschaw with Carol Bash. That's now the front of the race. I'm looking down into pit lane. The red flag is held up in front of Nicholas Nielsen. The track is absolutely saturated. Vega wet tyres on each of these drivers' carts. That's Nielsen to the right of your screen. He will have to rejoin at the back of the field after leading this race early on. by 2 or 3 seconds, fires it up, gets it sideways. This has certainly made the race interesting. Yuri Vips also gets that Ricky Flynn Motorsport Alonso kart fired up. Nicholas Nielsen, we said nothing flusters him, but this certainly will. He's had to start from pit lane. They've changed the plug. The engine's fired into life. Brutschin from Germany, also slow to get away. Kevin Brutschin in the Alonso kart. Nicholas Nielsen, he's still struggling to catch up to the back of the field. The green flag is being held by the race director in front of us, Mr. Alessandro Ferrari. When they cross the start-finish line next time round, they will be racing. I can see a board being held up in front of me with number 202 on it. That is Nicholas Nielsen's number. Well, what a shock we've got. 12 laps to go. The green flag flies, and getting it sideways in spectacular fashion is your new race leader, Richard Verschoor. We've got one kart out in the grass. It is soaking wet. A lot of drivers struggling to cope with the conditions. Nielsen has rejoined at the back of the race. Let's see where he comes across the line. He's 19th. He's in position 19. And guess what? The rain has stopped. We've had this downpour. The storm has passed. The track is wet. Nicholas Nielsen said, I was having a fantastic week up until now. What's happened? I'm in 19th spot. And he's still struggling with that engine to get it cleared. Maybe he's even got water in through the airbox. He's struggling to see through his visor. It is soaking wet. As the field come down through the centre chicane for the first time, watch them cut the corner. Over the ripple strip goes Richard Verschoor. In the Esprit cut, the young Dutch driver, huge plumes of spray, accelerating, wheel spinning under acceleration. Max Futrell. Dare I use the cliche that the Brits know how to race in the rain. He's sideways under acceleration. Just wheel spinning that Alonso kart powered by the Vortex engine. That's Futrell on screen now. Let's watch the different lines of the drivers. Do they cut across the inside ripple strip, or do they take the high line, the traditional wet weather line? Have a look at Juan Correa from the United States, now up into 3rd spot in the energy kart. The black race suit, using every bit of the racetrack, number 209, the Lotus F1 team junior driver. Kaspar Anderson in 4th, and hey, didn't we tell you before the race, the Russian Igor Stupenkov started out of 13th after one lap. He is now in position 7. He's made up 5 places in the opening laps. The Russian from Forza Racing, Igor Stupenkov. As they come down through the centre chicane, this is half race distance now. Futrell getting very wide, still keeps it under control, sits very low in that kart. That's Correa on screen now. He's got Kaspar Anderson sideways, the kart wheel spinning under brakes. The white helmet is Lorenzo Travisinuto up the inside of Rokas Bachuska. They're still side by side as they go through the double right. Lorenzo Travisinuto, a look over the shoulder for the young Italian in the PCR. That's Richard Verschoor on screen, working that Esprit steering wheel furiously over the ripple strip on the inside. There he goes, being hunted down by Max Futrell. Correa goes through at the bottom of your screen. Rokas Bachuska. There's Lorenzo Travisinuto. Igor Stupenkov. Here comes the Russian. That's him in the orange and white kart. The bright orange helmet tries the outside line for Forza Racing. Stupenkov up into 6th place now. This will be the end of lap number 12. Sideways like a rally car. Richard Verschoor from the Netherlands. Power slides under acceleration. 125cc engines, around about 35 horsepower. Futrell, he's working that steering wheel. Such is the wheel spin. It is so wet. He cannot keep it straight on the start-finish line. 7.5 laps remaining. Your leader, Richard Verschoor. Max Futrell and the American Juan Correa, Casper Anderson, Rokas Bachuska. Verschoor starting to get a little bit of a rhythm, but it's very, very hard to lead in these conditions, especially when you've got the young Brit, Max Futrell, behind you. Juan Correa driving superbly, the young American, for Energy Course. Has raced all around the world. One driver who has competed in the Rotax World Finals previously. Now he's in the WSK Promotion Series, the Champions Cup here at La Conca, Muro, Leccese. Futrell over the ripple strips. Correa right through the ripple strips. Sideways drifting style. Ken Block would be proud. There's the Russian, Igor Stupenkov, coming through into the McLaren curves. They're all on opposite lock. There's Futrell. He's struggling to keep it straight. He's struggling to keep it turned in. Of course, he uses the front wheel brakes to max effect over the ripple strip. Richard Verschoor. 6.5 laps remaining. It has stopped raining. The storm has passed. A 15-minute absolute torrential downpour, and the sky's clearing, but the track is still saturated. Different lines from these two drivers, the Dutchman and the Brit, who used to call Singapore home. There's Correa now, coming under attack from the Dane Casper Anderson. Ricky Flynn Motorsport Karts in second and fourth. Anderson trying to make it third place, but he's got the energy kart of the young American Juan Correa in front of him. That's your race leader. Driving his heart out is Richard Verschoor. Takes the wide line. Relatively straight for these conditions. Not so for Correa, just throws it in sideways. As they come onto the start-finish straight. 6 laps remaining now. Anderson tries to clear his helmet. Still, again, Futrell wrestling that kart in a straight line. That's Casper Anderson. Stupenkov, the Russian, here he comes. He's now up into position 5. And I can tell you, he's hunting down the leaders. The Forza Racing number 238 entry, powered by Vortex in the Tony kart, the orange and white kart. He's quick, he's really quick. Last time round, 48.4 for the Russian. He's matching the leader's pace. He is about 4 seconds behind the leaders. As Verschoor starts to bunch up ahead of Futrell, Correa and Anderson. This is 3/4 race distance through the center chicane, up over the ripple strips. Correa now on the back of Futrell. Over the ripple strips goes Futrell and Correa, and there's Anderson, number 228, the Ricky Flynn Motorsport Alonso kart. Stupenkov, you can see, in 5th position. Remember, at the restart, he was 13th. He was nowhere, relatively speaking, in the dry. Yesterday in the wet, he dominated. It rained again, and he's relishing the conditions. The driver from Moscow, Russia, Igor Stupenkov, into 5th place, hunting down the leaders. A little bit slower was on that last lap. The yellow flag's out. We've lost one of the Alonso karts on the infield. The leaders coming up. We are at 3/4 race distance. Richard Verschoor from the Netherlands. He was in juniors just a few months ago, competing in the CIK FIA Karting Academy Trophy. There's Stupenkov at the left of your screen. That is Juan Correa in the energy kart, the black racer's suit, being pursued by the Russian in the orange and white kart. Behind him, Emil Skaras, Rokas Bachuska. Francois Becamal from France is in 8th. Lorenzo Travisinuto, he'll be one driving that wish it did stay dry. He had the PCR working in the dry, not so much in the wet. There's the 2 Ricky Flynn Motorsport karts in 2nd and 4th spot. Correa has dropped out. Now he's under attack from Stupenkov. 3.5 laps now to go. Vachon is still leading. Futrell, Anderson. Correa has dropped back. Richard Vachon from the Netherlands driving superbly considering these conditions. Ricky Flynn Motorsport in second and third. They're used to winning. They won the World Championship 4 months ago in France with Lando Norris. They're not used to coming second and third, but that's the positions they find themselves in the moment. Richard Vachon from the Netherlands leads. Stupenkov now up into 4th spot. Juan Correa from America has dropped back. Emil Scaris now finds himself up a spot. Stupenkov, 238, there he is, the orange and white car from Russia. Forza Racing, the team from the United Kingdom. Chasing the Ricky Flynn Motorsport cuts, comes down the inside, Stupenkov. No, not this time. Richard Vachon, he's driving superbly, the young Dutchman. Futrell in second spot. He called Singapore home for a number of years. They're used to torrential downpours on the equator. Racing at Cartwright Speedway, Changi Speedway, and now, of course, their new KF1 circuit at the Singapore Turf Club. He now calls Britain home. I won't say it's much drier over in the United Kingdom. Max Futrell, he's driving the wheels off that kart. He's closing in slightly on your leader, Richard Vachon, who goes wide. A look over the shoulder that time. Stupenkov now up in the 3rd spot. He's got by the Dane, Casper Anderson. Into 3rd, make that 2nd in a few moments' time, I do believe. Over the ripple strip goes the Russian. Wow. Forza Racing, the Tony car takes the high line. He's putting the power down superbly. Here comes Stupenkov. The question is, can he win it? He's got 2 laps to go. He started grid 13 at the restart. Vachon from Futrell, the high line from Stupenkov up the inside. No! Whoa, this is exciting. I think he's going to pass him. In fact, he does so right now. The Russian into 2nd spot. Chasing down the Dutchman, he came from 13th on the grid. We know how quick he was in the wet, up over the ripple strip. Igor Stupenkov in 2nd place. The fastest driver on the track still remains your leader, Richard Vachon. This is the move into 2nd for the Russian, up over the ripple strip. Did it nicely. Futrell could not respond. Ricky Flynn Motorsport, their team karts are now in 3rd and 4th place. A look over the shoulder that time for Stupenkov. The last lap board is being prepared as they come down through the centre chicane for the 2nd last time. Up over the ripple strip. Takes the high line. There comes the Russian. Richard Vachon uses every bit of the ripple strip. 1,250 metres to go of this La Conca circuit, Muro, Leccese. Now a look over the shoulder from the young Dutchman. The Russian is right behind him. He takes the high line. He's going to cut back on the inside. No, not this time. 8 corners remain for the Dutchman. He's driven superbly from the start, in the dry and in the wet. Another look over the shoulder from Richard Vachon for RB Racing. I can see how close they are out the window of our commentary box. Again, Stupenkov the high line. He's going to have the run on the exit. Over the shoulder, Richard Vachon has a look. Again, the high line. He's going to get him up the inside. There goes the Russian. Oh, sensational. Vachon holds him off. I'm just about out of breath and we've got half a lap to go. They go up the back part of the circuit for the final time. This is the Senior KF final, the Champions Cup for 2015. I don't think he's close enough. He's trying, he's got it sideways under acceleration. He tries the NASCAR style high line, cuts back on the inside. He's not going to do it. It is the young Dutchman, Richard Vachon. Wow, what a drive. The Dutchman wins. Absolutely sensational in the dry and in the wet. Richard Vashaw, just sensational. We can't speak highly enough of the young Russian. Igor Stupenkov in second place. Kasper Anderson came home third for RFM. Max Futrell, the other Ricky Flynn Motorsport driver, home in fourth spot. Head of Emil Scaris, Francois Becamal, Rokas Pachuska, Lorenzo Travisanuto, Alexander Dalberg, and well done, Jakub Kadlach, rounding out the top 10. He is delighted, the young Dutchman, just out of juniors last year. I can tell you it stopped raining, but the track is still very, very wet. Igor Stupenkov gave it everything. Remember at the restart, he was on grid 13. He had 13 laps to pass 13 karts, and he came up just one short. Well done to our podium place getters. The Dutchman leads home the Russian, leads home the Dane, the Englishman, and the Swede. For sure, from Stupenkov, Anderson, Futrell, Emil Scaris, Francois Becamal, Rokas Pachuska, Lorenzo Travisanuto, Alexander Dalberg, and Jakub Kadlach. For Gregor Kart in the Tony Kart, rounds out your top 10. Wow, how good was that? Just sensational. You can see Juan Correa faded back to 12th spot at the end. Tom Bale, after qualifying fastest on Friday evening, only could manage 14th spot. He'll be back in 7 days' time to do better. Unfortunately for young Marcus, a non-finisher, 12 laps behind for the young Kiwi. Marco Mastranzi classified one position ahead of him. This is the highlights of the race. Look at the track, it's dry. That was some half an hour ago. The time has gone super quickly. Nicholas Nielsen, whatever happened to him? He finished way, way down the field in 18th. He led off the start. You can see him now disappearing into the distance. The track's dry. It's hard to imagine that was just a few minutes to go. Richard Vashaw in the dry. Carol Bash. Bash finishing down in 17th as well. What a difference the weather made. Juan Correa up the inside. The black race suit, the Lotus F1 junior team driver. This was still the opening 7 laps of the race. Then you can see it rained. The red flag came out. They changed to wet tyres, and we virtually had a new race. Igor Stupenkov was back in 13th position at this stage. That was your eventual winner over the ripple strips now. Richard Vashaw from the Netherlands. Max Futrell drove superbly, struggled to keep it in a straight line. Igor Stupenkov came from the clouds, almost quite literally. Back in 13th place. Got to second at the end, not quite close enough. Vashaw drove superbly. That's the 2 Ricky Flynn Motorsport drivers, Futrell and Anderson. Stupenkov came charging through, up to 4th, up to 3rd. He would eventually finish 2nd, but take nothing away for the young Dutchman, Richard Vashaw. That was the challenge from the Russian in the Tony Kart. Was the Esprit chassis who won. He was delighted. Your winner of KF Senior here at the Champions Cup, La Conca, round 1 goes to the young Dutchman, Richard Vashaw. Wow, how sensational was that? Don't go anywhere. We'll have the podium presentations in just a few moments. And coming up after that, the KF Junior Final. It has stopped raining, thankfully, for our podium presentations. I don't think the drivers will care that it's dry or wet. I think the grid girls will appreciate that it has stopped raining. I certainly will. We'll be back with you in just a few moments. The podium presentations for Senior KF, the WSK Champions Cup, round 1, coming to you live on WSK.IT.
What a race that was. We've got the official podium presentations coming our way. The three drivers have arrived. Sensational race, the senior KF final. In third spot, we have Casper Rose Anderson. Un grande applauso per lui. In second place, Igor Stupenkov from Russia. The winner, just out of juniors, from the Netherlands, Richard Verschoor. Third place trophy for third place driver. Well done to young Casper. Second place from Russia, Igor Stupenkov. He couldn't quite do it, but gee, he came close. And your winner from the Netherlands, Richard Verschoor. That is your podium for Senior KF, the final in dry and wet conditions. Let's stand by for the national anthem of the Netherlands. Un grande applauso. A round of applause for our podium place getters, Casper Anderson, Igor Stupenkov, and your winner of the KF final, Richard Verschoor.